again, those guys make me want to fight again. Although I do remember the pain. Since I joined Kyani, and thank you, Mike, for never taking my no, they asked me to talk about fear today and overcoming fear. I am uniquely qualified to talk about fear, given that I fought full contact for 20 years in Olympic sport, Taekwondo. So Mike was kind of brave to go into those waters when I told him no, I didn't want to do Kyani as a business. But Mike wasn't, he was fearless. I don't know if he felt the fear, but he did it anyway, to not accept my no, and I have to thank you over and over again because Kyani has changed my life. So after 1 year in Kyani, actually 1 year and 2 months, I achieved the rank of diamond in Kyani. Surprised me as much as everybody else. And then every year thereafter, I achieved a new rank of diamond. And I'm like, far out, this is the greatest game in the world. Thank you, Lord for Kyani every single day. But I'm like, the question in my mind is, why is everybody not achieving that diamond in, well, don't even count Team Fusion. Listen, I'm Team Aloha, and our slogan, is Ohana, family. And I am so Ohana, I think, and I'm from Atlanta too, so I talk weird. All of y'all are Ohana. We are Kyani family. We're family. So let's look at fear. And we want to do 7 ways to overcome fear, but let's look at why are we afraid? Well, a lot of people, some fear is healthy, but you know what? Some fear is debilitating. Some fear keeps us frozen. Some fear keeps us stuck. Even with, we have a perfect system, and Kyani is a perfect system, why isn't everybody doing it? And I say number 1 on the list is fear. And whether it's real, sometimes fear is real, and it's a healthy fear. But sometimes it's imagined, and sometimes it's unconscious. So we want to start to look at fear and get it conscious if that's what's stopping us. So let's look, what is fear? Well, we're afraid of failure, but guess what? We're afraid of success too. We might lose it. We're afraid of loss. But then again, we're just as afraid of having. That's what it is to be human. If we have, we might lose it. We're afraid of pain. But then again, we're afraid of pleasure too. We could lose it, right? And we're afraid of the unknown. But then we're afraid of how much we know. And we're afraid of suffering. But then again, we're afraid of happiness because we all know it's just a matter of time till we lose that. And we're afraid of not being loved, but we're also afraid of being loved. It's really a strange thing, this thing of being a human being. We're afraid of change. But then again, we're afraid it's all going to stay the same. It's going to be the status quo. We're afraid of being kind, but then we're afraid of being left out. We're afraid of being judged, but then we're afraid nobody's even going to notice us. So, we're afraid that maybe there's no God, but we're afraid of God. It's kind of weird. So, we're afraid of death, but then again, we're afraid of life. So, fear. Now, you know what? Here's the good news and the bad news. Fear is not your or my personal psychological problem. Fear just happens to be the fabric of life. I mean, it's just there. It's underneath it all. So I would say, what is possible in the face of fear? People ask me all the time when I was fighting, especially my students. They would say, when do the nerves go away? When am I going to go out there and not have my heart pounding out of my chest? I said, I don't know. I've been doing this 25 years. I always go out there and my heart's pounding out of my chest. But if it ever happens, I'll let you know, because then you'll know how long does it take. So I just went up to the line, did my bow, stepped back, and challenged and went to work. And that taught me something. So I'm going to share with you. The best we can do is share our personal experience, because I brought all of that into Kyani with me. So I'm really thankful for that training in martial arts, because every time, just like you put weight on a muscle, every time you go out and you walk into the face of fear and you just have it. So let's look at how can we be with fear? And I say to have it. It's always going to be there. It hasn't gone away yet. I'm 71 years old. It hasn't gone away yet. It doesn't even diminish. I'm out here, my heart's pounding and going out of my chest, and I just walk on the stage and do it anyway. So I'm really no different from anybody else, but there's not ever going to be an absence of fear. So whatever you can have and let it be, and acknowledge it as a normal part of being human, it will let you be. So you can learn to have fear, and one of the ways that you can do that is you can reinterpret fear. So as I stood out there, just like before I went to fight, after the fight's over, that's the most alive you're ever going to feel. I'm like, before, I'm standing out there going, why am I doing this? The mind is just going crazy with the fear. You don't even like this. You should just relax and don't challenge yourself. Just like that every single time. But then I go, you know what? This is the most alive I can feel. So when I come on the stage, I can reinterpret the fear. I can say, you know what? I love this. I think this is the most alive that I feel. I want to make a better difference with you. So I can say, if I have fear, I'm challenging myself. I'm going into the unknown. I'm expanding myself. I'm growing. And I'm out there making a difference. If it were all the same, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. So you reinterpret the fear. And that's actually habit. So we're going to look at how to do that. And these are things that I trained in. By the way, I had visualization coaches. Now, is it important to prepare? Yeah, I read a book on this, but I had 25 years of the book of my life, too. And so I just started to examine and look. But every day, my friend Susie's been at my house with me for a week before we came down here, and I'm there reading my book. I'm there taking notes. I'm thinking, how do I deal with fear? What really worked? And why do I have this success in Kyani? Because I can stand in the face of anybody's no. I can stand in the face of anybody's comment. But you know what? They're either going to enroll me into their negative possibility, or I'm going to enroll them into my positive, just like Mike did with me, and now I'm Red Diamond, so the rewards are great. But I'll tell you something, preparation isn't all of it. I've watched people, my own students, but my own competitors. I would go out and watch somebody warm up, and I go, I'm going to die today. And then it would take me about 10 seconds. I would go, far out. They have no experience. She is petrified. She is frozen. She is mine. So preparation isn't all of it. But number 4, spirituality. I just say whatever is your spirituality, connect to God, because every day I ask God to empower me, to empower life, to empower everything. I have a stack of books on my table in the morning. First thing I do every day is read, and my friends and family watch me, and they go, you're reading 13 books at the same time. I go, I know, I read about 15 minutes a day. I read the whole Bible that way. I read the Bhagavad Gita that way, but just that little bit of a time. And by the way, that's the way you become a champion. That's the way you become whatever diamond too. So I would say I ask God to bless me, to expand me, so that I can help others and empower others to expand the quality of their life. And that's actually what we have here in Kyani. We're just making life better for everybody. The health, the wealth, but just the best of life. Experience more. I am so experiencing more, I can't tell you. So that spiritual connection, go for it. You've got to give the time to it, like you do your practice, to get stronger. So powerful, positive speaking. You know, you have a default conversation going on in your mind all the time. Maybe your first grade teacher told you that you really were slow and you were so far behind the other class and you probably would never catch up and you should consider being a garbage collector or something like that. And you believed it. And you're telling yourself that. Teacher's long gone and we're just telling ourselves those negative things. Well, I say take responsibility for that little ongoing voice in your head, you know, the one that's saying, what voice? What voice is she talking about? That one. And that's all the time doing this default conversation about how you're not as good as the next one, and you really can't handle it. You see, underneath all the fear is we think we're not enough. We think we can't handle it, and that's not true. That's not true for any one of us here. So you have to train that voice to actually speak something. You're making it all up anyway. When God said, let there be light, there was light. We're made in His image, so we have the power of our word. But here's a little sidebar. You have to have integrity. You cannot lie, cheat, and steal and have the power of your word. Yeah. So you have to be able to say the truth and do it honestly. Kyani works. Work it honestly. So with integrity, you have power in your word, but go out there and create something great. You're creating it all anyway. Okay? So just create yourself as being great. So number 6, well, be a team player. You are not going to do this alone. Mike mentored me. I mentored my team. You will mentor others. Our real job is producing leaders. And, you know, I would say go own your power to be great, because it's just as much your right as anybody else is right. Kyani works. I'm going to tell you something, what it is to create into no possibility. Those of you who know me, you know my husband he's been battling cancer for 22 years. He is simply alive because of Kyani products. And listen to the research. You'll know that's true and you'll know why. But he was diagnosed again 5 years. He started with stomach cancer. He was diagnosed 5 years ago with stage 4 squamous cell carcinoma of the lung. The expected life expectancy of the life is only 6 to 8 months, and the outside 18 months he's lived 5 years with no chemo, no radiation. Kyani products. Well, let me tell you something. We came home from Huntsman, the cancer hospital in Salt Lake City last week, and the doctors did scans and they're checking him, and they said, well, you've got metastases in your spine, you've got metastases in your kidneys. And it just walked, and I get in the car on the way home, and I'm like in shock. Because, you know, he's my hero, and he's beating the odds. You know what he did? He started getting on his computer. He started looking at this next protocol. He started taking notes. He was planning his next protocol to deal with this. He is somebody who creates possibility in the face of absolutely zero possibility.